Hey guys, how's it going? Back with another video today. Today is going to be a home workout of mine. It's something that I would follow most days due to having limited equipment. So the only things that I'll be using today are dumbbells and like a pull-up bar that I have in the house. So I won't be using anything apart from that. And I'm just going to take you through exercises that you might not have thought of doing if you have a set of dumbbells in the house. If you'd like to see me do a certain split, then leave it down in the comments. As today's going to be again a full body workout due to having only limited equipment. So overall, I'm hoping to have this home workout done in roughly around 45 minutes to an hour. So I started off doing some bicep curls, and along the side you can see what my workout will entail today. So again, I started off this workout doing 21s, which is 7 reps on the lower part of the movement of bicep curls, and then 7 parts on the upper part, and then 7 through the final part of the movement then. So overall it adds up to doing 21. Next then, as you can see here, I'm just going through the first part of the movement, and I'm just making sure that I'm getting a good contraction, and I'm making sure I'm holding for about a second before I go down. And then you can see that I move on to the upper part of the movement here before finally then going on to the full range of movement. Next on the list then is tricep extensions. Here I'm really wanting to make sure that I can focus on getting 90 degrees through a bend in the arm, so I can just get a full stretch through the tricep at all times. This is really going to help to make your arms look bigger overall. This is something I really want to focus on, making sure that I can get the 3 heads of my tricep then hit. Next then, I was doing a dumbbell bench press. This here I was using high volume, so I was doing about 15 reps or so to make sure that I was getting a really good contraction in the chest, and I was trying to bring my elbows down as close as possible to the floor without them touching, so I would have full resistance still. So here what I did was I actually moved my arms in a wee bit so they're actually angled rather than being straight. And then next I moved on to a superset of flies. So as you can see, I'm coming out and I'm making sure that when I'm bringing the weights down, I'm coming down slowly so I get the full contraction, and making sure I'm getting a really good stretch along the muscle as well. So next then I moved on to seated hammer curls. I find that when you're seated, it's a much heavier weight to lift than what it would be if you're standing up, so you can get a better contraction throughout the muscle, and you can really then get a good workout through doing this. So next I moved on to wide grip pull-ups. Doing this to just really help strengthen up the back as well. I feel like this has been one of my lagging muscles for a bit of time now, so I've been really focusing on trying to get the pull-ups better. So yeah, I'm really trying to focus on like holding at the top for about a second or so, just to make sure that I'm getting a good squeeze at the top, just to try and help build the muscle a bit more. So next then I moved on to a warm-up of triceps overhead press, just to make sure that I had enough blood in the muscles before moving on to heavy weights, and just making sure I'm making that muscle memory. So what I wanted to really focus on when I was doing these was making sure I was getting my arms down to about 90 degrees like I was doing with the triceps. And a good indication that you're getting down to about 90 degrees is you'll feel the bottom bit of the dumbbell touching your neck, and if you're doing that, then it'll be perfect. Okay, so then I moved on to doing some overhand bicep curls. This is going to really hit the lower part of your bicep and grow it. I feel that a lot of people would actually neglect this bit, so this is a good movement to do for that. And then I moved on to some bent over rows. These are going to really help with building your lats up. When I was bringing them up, I was holding them for about a second before bringing them down, just to make sure I could get a really good squeeze overall on the muscle. And to today, I'm really still feeling it along my back. So next, I did lateral raises, and this is hitting the medial delts, and I'm making sure that I'm just getting through the movement and having my arms bent out as much as possible, but making sure I'm keeping a slight bend in the arm still. And then I supersetted this along with rear delt flies, just to hit the posterior of my delts, just to get that full capped delt. So when I would shred down, you could really see the definition in between my delts then. And then next I moved on to some chin-ups. Again, this is just to hit more of my traps in my back, just to build them up a bit as I don't really have any bars. And yeah, so this is really the only option that I had to do then. And next then I moved on to the military press, using heavy dumbbells today to make sure that I get a really good pump along with that as well, trying to keep the amount of muscle that I've been building, as these have been one of my target muscles recently that I've been really wanting to focus on while in the gym. So I was lucky enough to get the weights that are heavy enough so I could really work on it here. And as you can see, I was struggling a bit. And then next we moved on to push-ups. I was using a chair just to make them a bit harder and to really make sure I was hitting my chest as well. And this would really focus on hitting the upper part of my chest, just to the incline where my legs were. Whereas if I was to have my feet on the ground and do push-ups, then that would hit the lower part of my chest. So then I moved on to Romanian deadlifts here. As you can see, I'm trying to keep my legs from not moving as much as possible so that I'm really isolating my hamstrings here. As well, if you find that your legs and your knees are coming apart too much, you could try using a band, as I find they can be quite helpful just to make sure you get the full range of motion. So then I moved on to split squats. Now I find these quite difficult sometimes as you're doing so many reps on one leg before changing. So if you do struggle with these, I would advise to do lunges, maybe with a barbell over your back rather than holding two separate weights, as this would be more of a advanced training method for people to use. And then finally, I moved on to doing some calf raises here. I really want to focus on making sure I can keep the calves the size that they are, at least until we can get back into the gym. So I was making sure I was doing about 4 sets and making sure I held at the top of the movement. And then every time I was making sure I could come down further to the end of the step just to make sure I could get a full range of motion. Anyway guys, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe and share it with your friends if you found it helpful at all, because I'd really appreciate that. So overall, that workout actually ended up taking about an hour and a half to do rather than an hour. I just got really into it and really enjoyed it. So I hope you can take something away from the video as well. But anyway guys, until next time, goodbye.